news and current affairs show on radio, and not of the Niger, we dare say that. And of course, on this show, we brought those that matter, those the society think they don't matter, those who don't have the voice. We try to give them a voice on the show. So we had governors, we had the sitting governor here, we had past governors here, we had past vice president, senate president, ordinary people, doctors, lawyers. Those may not be ordinary, but just ordinary people also are here. I mean, who sometimes don't have the kind of voice and the platform we provided for them. And in the last couple of years, we've tried to make this program an agenda setter, if you like, where we, talk about things dispassionately, and then, of course, try to get even, government and those who are responsible to do something. And we've seen a lot of change come through. So you're welcome to the show. My name is Samson, as I said, Samson Omale. It's going to be an exciting show. I look forward to doing this show, but I've not had the opportunity. So today we're leaving everything politics out, but again, looking at how politics and policy will affect our lives. So if you have a friend, give him a call, grab a seat. If you have a cup of coffee, I'm sure you will need one. And then, of course, let's engage. And let's, of course, as we engage, we like to organize and make our country better. Joining me live this morning, all the way from Abuja, is a Jos lady who reps Jos very well. And we're proud of what she's done and what she's doing. Of course, and today she's in Abuja. She's an educator alongside her husband. And of course, she's also a coach, who is also trying to raise the next generation of Nigerian leaders. I have Mrs. Irene Bangwell joining me all the way from Abuja this morning. Very good morning to you, Mama, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Samson. It's so good to be on the show. It's been a while, but happy to be here.
Yeah. Absolutely. So today we want to look at something around education, right? We would like to talk about the recent development, but we're going to look at it holistically. So we're looking at, if you've been following examination in our country, matriculation examination that should take you to the next level of your career or your education, whether it's from the JAMB, or talk about the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, or the West African Examination Council, WAEC. There's been a whole lot of problems. And the last one that's been happening in the last few days has been more or less like a joke, if you permit me to put it that way. There's been a whole lot of reasons that's been adduced, but we'd like to put it in context and, of course, address the issue around our education. But before I get started, I have someone who is joining me on the line, also from Abuja this morning, but she's lived all her life in Jos.
Yes.
And I don't know whether she wants me to call her name or she wants to stay anonymous, because she called me this morning and she was in tears. She was really very emotional. For the sake of this discussion, I'd like to call her Madam K. Madam K, very good morning to you, and welcome to
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Samson.
Silverbirds Rhythm 93.7 it is. And how are you doing this morning, Madam K?
Well, I don't know. I'm just there.
Okay, tell me your story. What's your story?
Okay. So this is me. Like I said this morning, Nigeria happened to me and my child. I have a daughter who wrote the WAEC exam. And funny enough, she wrote it in Jos.
Okay.
Because she's schooled in Jos. She's schooled in Jos. She just graduated.
Okay.
Okay, let me just give you a background.
Yeah.
This daughter of mine has had a track record of academic excellence from her grade 1. She has attended 3 different schools in Plateau State. I'll mention the schools: Alama Private School, St. Monica's Academy, and then Kent Academy, Niamey. She had, during her GSC, had a score of 8 A's and 2 B's.
8 A's and 2 B's, and I'm seeing the results you sent to me this morning.
Yes,
okay.
That was when she wrote her WAEC.
Okay.
And during the mock exam, she scored 313. Okay. And then during the recent JAMB, she scored 315.
Okay.
Because we are preparing her for a possibility of going out to school, she wants to be a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
So we allowed her to write SAT on the 8th of March 2025.
Okay.
and she scored 1,150 over 1,600 as a first attempt when she wrote it. That's her first time writing it. That's an international exam, by the way.
Sure.
Now, on Monday evening, we checked her results, and this same girl that has been the best in academics throughout from grade 7 to 12 has collected all the academic prize from that 7 times in a row, and has an average of 96.1 or 97 between those two. She has not drifted to even 95.
Yeah.
That's an A student. Has just happened to score an E8 in further math.
Wow.
A D7 in biology, which is her best subject, by the way.
Wow.
C6 in English. Economics, that was just a walk in the park during the exam. C6 as well. And during her JAMB, she scored 91 in chemistry. But this WAEC, the grade weight that was given was C4. During WAEC, during JAMB, she scored 85. But right now, her score in biology is D7 in WAEC. So I don't know what to think of this. When these results came, I wrote to the school that sent an academy, Nyongo.
Yeah.
I wrote to the principal to request for a review and remarking of my daughter's script. Thankfully, the principal obliged and went to WAEC board. My daughter also rejected the scores and also wrote for her paper to be remarked. On going to WAEC board, I think they guided the principal on what to do and attached our letter to the request and took it there. But at that time, that was when it was said that there will be a review, there was a glitch and all that.
That's right.
So the WAEC zonal coordinator now called out the principal and said she should stand down for a while since it's a general problem, and let's see if those scores will change. And as the press release that everybody has seen, they say after 24 hours, after whatever, we should check. To interest the world to know that this morning, yesterday night, we checked 2 times. The results still remain like that. This morning, I woke up at 5. I checked. The result is still static, the way it was. And my question to WAEC is, are these results going to be updated in badges, or are they being updated once and for all so that I know what's going on? And just to tell us, this thing that has happened has broken us. It has broken my child. My child is not happy. She has suddenly become a shadow of herself because of self-doubt. Self-esteem has been lost, self-worth. Sometimes you say, Mommy, maybe I'm not even smart enough. Maybe this thing is true. I said, no, you cannot just judge yourself with one exam. This is just one out of many you've written. And something again I did was to ask her to answer the objective past question right in front of me.
That's right.
So that we could mark it using ChatGPT and some other places we could get answers. Because when you ask ChatGPT, of course, it pops up with an answer. He wrote this biology that was set at D7. He wrote it there, and we marked it. She scored, that's the objective. She scored 41 over 50.
Wow.
And I told her to answer the chemistry. She wrote and she answered the chemistry. She scored 43 over 50. So my question is, how was the whole WAEC exam marked? Was it based on one side? Because her 43 already is above D7.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Samson, I'm broken. I've not been myself for the past week. My daughter has not been, her siblings have not been, her father. I think even all my friends cannot believe it. Those I told, they will say, no, this is not your daughter's result. There is something wrong somewhere. So I'm begging because she has lost golden opportunities. She was supposed to have submitted, that was the last part for Poland, University of Medicals in Poland, in is it Ganache, Nash, something like that.
Yeah.
She was the one that applied for it.
Okay.
The last stage was just to submit that WAEC. And when she submitted, they dropped her. They said that this cannot suffice for her to read medicine. The other one was American University of Barbados. Mm-hmm. Right now, they said they cannot accept her to go for medical. She has to go for pre-med.
Okay.
If she must go. And they are still reviewing the results. So this is the whole story of my life. This is what Nigeria has put me through. This is what WAEC has put my daughter through for the past few days, and I don't know what to do.
Okay, Madam K, let me, I mean, you told me something earlier before the show started, where you mentioned that you also have some of your friends who said WAEC has resisted some part of this result, and the result is changed, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I checked online, and I went on to some social media platforms.
Yes.
Some people are saying that they checked it, and some of them have seen a difference. I saw someone saying that English was F9, but now is a B3.
Okay.
Somebody said the English was C6, but now is an A1. But that's just people just making comments on social media platforms.
Okay. All right.
Yes, but
go ahead. Conclude your statement.
Yeah, so I said maybe, I don't know, people can just put something up there, but I have parents that have similar issues, though one subject or two. But my daughter's own is the whole 9 subjects. None of them are reflect the true results that was her performance, because she has a track record of good academic excellence. All those results, not even one, reflect her true performance.
All right.
That's our take. And
go ahead.
And we are pleading that if not for anything, they should just go back there and check and remark her paper, whatever it takes. Whether we need to pay for the person to remark it, whatever it takes, because I heard that there's a fee and all that. We are ready to do that.
All right.
Just for her to get back her score.
All right. And the good thing that Madam K has done, she sent me all the, I have all the results, even from JSCE, all the awards this particular girl was given or she got from her secondary school all through. I have all the results here sent to me from her mother and all of that. And we quite sympathize with you. Your case is a very different one, where you have a brilliant student going through this examination, and there's a whole lot, that we need to unpack. But we hope that you've taken the right step. We hope that something can be done, and thank God you're willing. You have so much confidence in your daughter, and you're willing to go the whole hog, and all that. And we will, whatever media visibility we can give to this particular issue, I can promise you that we'll help you do that. And of course, until the authority is able to do what they need to do. But thank you very much for sharing your story with us this morning. It brings some life. Yeah, it brings some life to the discussion we're about to have. I wish I can leave you on the phone so that I can hear a response from Madam Bangwell. But in any case, since you're in Abuja, I can make the connection. I'm sure that she can also find a way of helping. That's my guest on the show today. And all, and maybe give you some leads in what can be done all of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam K, for being on the show. We appreciate you this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Ma'am, you just heard the story. Just listening to her. I mean, what's your first response? What are the first response you will make to this?
So the first thing I'm going to say is that all hope is not lost. She should write to WAEC. What she has done, she's done great already. So write to WAEC and request for a remarking. I have asked for one of my students' scripts to be remarked. And I spoke with the zonal coordinator of WAEC this morning, and I said, I have a single student who wrote commerce. His teacher said that when he came out of the exam, they also asked him to tick the answers he had in the OBJ. And they said he failed only 4. And he has an F in commerce. And so I told him that going by the range of score that is an F, that it means that his script is missing. There's no score on the exam. That's his continuous assessment completely. Because if he had 46/50 in the OBJ, that alone, even if there was no theory, should at least give him a C. So he told me that we should apply for a remarking. Another thing too I want to point to her is that there have been changes in the results. One of my students, as at yesterday, as at the time they shut down the WAEC platform, only one of my students did not have a math. She didn't have a credit in math. He had a D7 and he's a high flyer. So the whole school were thrown off that how can he have a D7? No matter how tough he was, a C4 is what we expect for him. So last night we rechecked the results and he has a C4. So they've made some changes. However, so the changes is not hearsay. The changes are real. However, she needs to apply. But Samson, one thing I want the country to know is that WAEC tried something new this year. They tried something they called it randomization, right? Where what I'm writing is not the same thing as what you're writing. They've reordered the exams. So it is possible that a child on a paper type was marked with another paper type. Especially in the OBJ. You get the idea? So if you know how JAMB, I wrote paper type A, you wrote paper type B. If they use paper type B answers to mark my script, it's going to fall apart because it will be disintegrated and not reflect that. I'm not happy with what this technical glitches is causing children. It's heartbreaking, but I want us to think about it this way. WAEC is trying to be responsive. They're trying to be responsive. They're looking at their system. I don't think it's a question of inefficiency. WAEC is one of the most standard exams that is written in this country. However, this is their first time. And so what we need from them is quicker response time because the results they are holding is consequential for a lot of things for children, from admissions, from going further. So I want them to do it as quickly as possible. But I agree that because of this new method they're doing, it is really to address examination malpractice. Innocent children are caught in the fire. You get the idea? So they need to do it very quickly. As you can see, I have a student who wrote commerce, and he needs commerce for the degree he wants to read, even though I think it's economics, but the young man is bent on his commerce. F is not in the range of things that he should have earned, but she needs to press because if she doesn't press, her child's case will be one of those cases we refer to in years to come. So she should petition, she should write to the boss, she should follow them up, she should come to Abuja and follow up from Abuja. Their office is in Gwagwalada. She should go there and press, she should do drama so that her child's result is reviewed. She needs the drama right now, and she needs as many of us as possible to lend our voice behind her so that her child's case is not thrown under the carpet. Somebody made noise to cause WAEC to retreat that result. We need to make that noise again for that child to be remarked. And I dare say WAEC should mark her daughter's script at no cost to her. Because the way it is, you can't ask people to pay for remarking if you had a technical glitch. Yes.
That's right. All right. Thank you for situating this now appropriately. Now, you also do recall that we had some issues with JAMB also earlier in there. Now, JAMB didn't do any randomization. They weren't testing anything and all that. And that happened. And now we're having this case because, again, what I'm thinking, ma'am, is that as fantastic as what WAEC is trying to do, there's something you call quality control. And quality control within your system. Why don't you look at this, make sure that what you're doing is foolproof? As you said, rightly said, it's going to be consequential. And then tidy up your back end before you release this result. In this case, you don't need to be in a hurry. Be sure that you have done your due diligence. Now, we're having all of these. What impact do you think is going to make? Let's start from there in terms of the perception of our examination process, even not by even us here, but even those who are watching from outside.
So first and foremost, I want you to know that, Samson, Nigeria as a country is struggling with the anyhowness culture. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's the way we drive, that's the way we walk. And so that lack of, thinking through is part of what we are suffering from, which is leading us to look a certain type of way in the global scene. However, I want you to know that exam result challenges, as long as it's tech-driven and human-driven, all over the world, has challenges. Other countries report results. So what we want is educate people, educate universities. For instance, imagine if there was a liaison, universities knew that, hold on until November to do a final clearance on WAEC, because they are going a bit back and forth with some results. So we need to have different parts talking to each other, because I promise you, if that girl's result comes out after the admission window is over, it's not useful to her.
That's right.
Do you understand me? So we're not saying that, first, we don't know the extent of the quality control that was done. We don't know the extent of the testing. We don't know nothing. And when you talk about JAMB, I don't know what to think about JAMB, to be honest with you. I don't know what to say. I don't know, but I just want to say the anyhowness, the not thinking things through, the not, it's our culture. Sometimes if you're even diligent at work, your colleagues make it look as if you're overdoing it. So it's something that endemic in us, that we are not thinking things through. We are not troubleshooting. For instance, why would have been troubleshooting this thing in January, February, ever before they rolled out exams? I don't know. I mean, yeah, before they rolled out exams, so that they could know what potentially could be a problem and know how to forestall it. Samson, do you know what is the other thing I realized that is really hurting me with this year's exam? These are the children that got into school in the COVID year.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Their education is so challenging from one thing to the other. This is their graduating year. They came in such a storm, and they're graduating in such a storm. It's so, I mean, look at that child that took her life, unfortunately, because of JAMB. So do you get where I'm coming from? We don't think things through. Samson, you do something in the office, and you may not really realize that someone in Tafanchan is affected by something you did today. Yes, it's impacted by the action. So I'm looking forward to a point where we can all sit down and say, what is like the Ministry of Education and UA, let's x-ray your process and see what are the multiple possibilities of challenges, and let's see how we forestall them, so that we have fewer incidents to deal with. And so it's that thinking through that I think is essentially maybe missing. Yes. And having the right people doing the thinking through. When I say right people, I mean experts. Directors in the office cannot be thinking through for tech people. You don't say we've gone, then you tell a tech person what to do. Tech people should troubleshoot it to you, present it to you, design the solutions for it. So it's not always that they didn't do it, but who was in the room? Was the representation of experts needed to be in the room to do that brainstorming with them? Yes.
All right, now we know that while we stay with WAEC, WAEC is the West African Examination Council. It means that this examination is written in like several West African countries. But
yes.
Each country is country specific.
Yes.
With its peculiarities and all of that. So why are we not hearing this noise? This is the first time they are testing it only in Nigeria. If you have any information in that regard, or it's been done in other West African countries and we're just starting, because we're not getting those kind of glitches that we're being told, or bugs like we're having in Nigeria.
Is it? I don't know. I don't have that information. So I don't know whether they did randomization only in Nigeria. Nigeria is maybe their largest market. Nigeria may also be the biggest space where there's examination malpractice. So it's possible that randomization was rolled out for just Nigeria, but I'm not sure about that. But Samson, by virtue of our numbers, so if it was a percentage error, like 20% error, and you have maybe 40,000 kids writing in Ghana, do you understand? The numbers are less in those countries.
Very short.
And so our scale of human beings writing those exams is enough to, but I don't know. So I don't know whether randomization was scaled across all the countries.
All right, now let me move away a bit from all of these glitches now. Let's talk about our education system a bit. I got excited, really very excited when I saw your post yesterday where you say you have 14 students who all went in for this exam. All of them passed, and the last word you used caught my attention: without exam malpractice.
It's called
just this morning. I was having some discussion with my wife and talking about this show, and she was telling me about a lot of people where, there seem to be, it's now a norm where even parents encourage and even pay for, making sure that, because they don't want any problems, they want their children to pass and all that. Parents are the one even encouraging malpractice. Now, how bad? First question is the issue of exam malpractice within our education system, especially when we begin to talk about secondary school education. And two, what are the impacts you are seeing? You are very much in this space. What impacts are you seeing already, and what impact will this have? Because we have normalized, that's my concern. We've normalized exam malpractice, and we'll call it help, we'll call it just whatever and all that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this?
So first and foremost, exam malpractice is an ancient vice in Nigeria. The first time I encountered examination malpractice was in June 1993. I was sitting for my common entrance. I had read up for that exam, and while I'm writing, I hear one of the teachers in school come behind the door and said, number 1, A, number 2, C, number 3. It knocked me off. I became confused because I did not even know that was possible. So it's so age-long that it's not surprising that parents are comfortable with it. And that's because we are a country that celebrates good results over how you got it. We celebrate the certificate over whether the child grasped the concept needed. We don't understand that education is in layers, and it's success in one level that determines success in the next. If you look at it, if you look at the declining quality of graduates in Nigeria, you don't need to go far to think about, where did this come from? How did you graduate and you don't know that you should start a sentence with capital letters? How did you graduate from university and you don't know what past tense and present tense, plural? You don't know simple abbreviations. How did you really pass? That's because this is how it's been. So to know how bad it is today, while we went to pick our invigilators for exams, the exam officer in my school and the driver, when we go with the school bus to pick the invigilators to come, when they are switching for a new invigilator to come to the nurse school, some of them will say, we hear you're a very difficult school. You're not being relatable. They won't tell you expressly, you're not being relatable. You're not, what is going on? People are not, no, the statement was, invigilators are not happy with your school. And in fact, recently I was talking about it, and my father-in-law said, are you guys not doing refreshment, transport support? I said, no, that's mandated, but that's not what they're talking about. So what I have seen in real time, I went for a meeting one day and I met a girl who finished from a school in Abuja and had all A's, the generic all A's, and went to school outside of the country. And she got an A in physics, and then she goes to take a discipline that required some things in physics. And so in university, they're not teaching you SS1 concept. You have an A1, so they build on it. This lady said for 1 year, she was a mess. So you know what she did? She withdrew from that program, came back to assess herself and say, which course can I do? So they are setting these kids up for failure in the future. But people don't care, because at least for my own, I delivered my end of the quota, but that's not how I want to deliver. I serve poor children. All they have has to be in their head. If I can't get it in their head, they won't produce. They don't have the luxury of, oh, I had this degree, I graduated with a 3rd class, or I got a pass, so I went to do something else. I have to give them what they can run with. And so I have to find a way to make sure the education really happens on their brain. And funny enough, all my children have passed the exams, but I don't have all A's. The highest I have is 2 A's and B's. I have 1 A and 7 B's. I don't have all A's. But you see those my children, anywhere they show up in this world, anywhere, they are ready to go. That's my priority. I have no ego. I'm going to put up their 14 results online, including the child that scored the least. The child that scored the least still has a credit in math and English.
Wow.
So do you understand me? Because my priority is the human. I know, I hear that the Jews have a culture that somebody can steal your gadget, steal your money, but they can't take what is inside your head. So as an educator, my priority is to get as many things as possible, as much as possible, to put it in their head. And if it is in their head, they are ready to fly.
Ma'am, you are one of a very different breed now, because we're having proprietors of school, proprietors as it were. We're having teachers who are even the one who are organizing, who are the one who are encouraging, and then of course they found a very ready ally in parents.
Yes.
Now this is where we are. So it's become, as I said earlier, we've normalized this, and we're not seeing anything wrong with it
anymore.
And these are the children anymore. And these are the children we're bringing. So I'm a little bit concerned that you can get into a space now, just as you said earlier, I'm doing what is right, and it's counted as being evil, as being abnormal, as being, not part of the circle. Because again, we want to brand our school as the best school. We want to brand our school as the most brilliant in terms of performance and all that, not knowing that we're doing everything that is wrong and literally destroying these children. So what will you now say to someone who set up a school and encourages this?
So I'm going to be honest with you, Samson. Fear.
Yes, please.
Fear is the biggest motivation. Fear of bad reputation, fear of being second or not enough, fear of someone saying that your school is not good enough. So for you to run an education space that focuses on children, you have to become egoless. See, when I started the NOC school, I told people that I'm not trying to be the best school in Nigeria. I'm trying to be a lab that figures out what works and shares with the rest of the world. I said it in September 2019. I want to run a laboratory for learning. Whatever I find that works, I'll tell you to scale it. So we have been in the school trying to figure out how best do children learn? Which concept should they learn? How many times should they learn it to get it? We are tweaking, changing. And I want to give credit to my teachers who have allowed me to, every end of year you come and troubleshoot, you change things around. We're still dragging here. It's like a science experiment. See, I don't have any ego attached to my children's results. If I bring out a result any year and the children didn't do well, I will feel terrible, but we will regroup. Let me tell you something. Our children finished WAEC on the 26th of July. We had said we were going to start a program for 1 year, a transition program for 1 year, where we wait with them to go write post-UMEs, look for partners who can sponsor them in university. We designed a 1-year program if they need to go and learn a skill so that they have something to do when they're in uni. And one of the things in the brochure we gave parents was, any child that requires to resit exams, we will support them to receive that exam. I can put that document public. They finished exam July 26th. That's the day they picked it up. That means we had a data eye to their results, not a, this is who we are. We're already saying any child that receive exams, we will support them to receive the exams. So when you get into, but now who is partnering with us? I understand. I don't have parents that want that. My parents need my help. Their children have been out of school. They don't have resources to do a lot of things. So I am like an angel. You pick my child, you took her or him from JS1 and you kept them in school for secondary school for 6 years. However, they feel pressured in their communities. So what we have done is we've brought parents into the room and we've told them, trust us. Trust us with this children's education. Trust us. We know what we are doing. We need you to not interfere. We need you to trust. So when we're about to start exams, we tell them, reduce sending them to the market. Reduce sending them to the farm. I remember one meeting, I told parents that if it is not in their head, it will not come on their script too. There's no way around it. If it's not in their head, it's not coming on their script. And if it doesn't come on their script, if they ask me, somebody asks me, they say you're not helping the kids. I say help. I've looked for 18 term school fees, external exam fees. We registered the children for JAMB. I said, I've done all the help. This time around, they should bring it out. So my role as an educator is to say everything that you need to do to ensure that learning happens, you do it. And we've done it in the NOC school for 6 years, and we have institutionalized some of those things. When I talk about it, sometimes some people say you're overdoing it. And I smile, I said, don't worry. If you were doing it well, you will be overdoing it. You understand?
Absolutely.
Understanding the learner and saying, what does it take to really teach a child to get it? Build it into the system. So many schools are doing exam malpractice is 2 things. The leaders are afraid of negative results. They are unskilled in how to ensure that learning actually happens. And so many teachers don't have the leadership that they need to say, step away from what you're used to doing and ask yourself, what should I do differently? How should I teach differently? Let me end this with saying this, Samson. I teach children from low-income families. It's easy for people to look down on them and say, let this one go and learn handwork. I took on the mandate to prove to the world that poor children are not out of intellect. So if we give them everything we need, they are at the same level as children from privileged background. That is what I have decided on my own. Thank you.
All right. Now, that's one leg of it. Let's speak about the government officials now, the education minister and the policy makers. You run a school. You relate with these people every other day as it touches policy, as it touches regulations and all that. And then, of course, we're seeing that even when they send supervisors, when they send, people to check and all that, even during exams and even beyond exams, they don't want to do the right thing. Now, how dangerous is the activities of those in the local government education authority, those in the state ministry of education, their active, how does it also impact
so Samson
with the children?
We can't do what we don't have. I think that the Ministry of Education should have the necessity mandate that say Department of Quality Assurance officers go and intern in another education system for 6 months before occupying that office, so that they know what they're looking for. They know what they're benchmarking against. Because one of the biggest problems we have is supervisors cannot give what they don't have. So, for example, people like me are overdoing it. We're breaking rules. For instance, that's how it will be perceived. This randomization that WAEC is doing in exams, we've been doing it since 2019. All our tests, all our assessment, all our exams. Do you know what it means for teachers to set exams, then randomize it for 4 paper types? It's extra work. So, but I said we need education data. We need to know whether children are learning or not. So we need to create systems where they write independently. When they come to a school like mine, I'm going against their policy. Who asked me to do that? But you see, if they are exposed, I can't blame them for the kind of policies that they make. They need to work in a system that works. They need to go to the Knowledge and Human Development Authority in Dubai and sit in there and see how education decisions are made, what the checklisting is. So I was telling you yesterday, I'm going to put up a post on 7 things we've done institutionally to make learning happen at the North School. Now, there's none of these things that is a requirement by the Nigerian standard. So we have a monotonous, if you teach, let me give you an example. If you teach this topic in English, children will get it. But Nigeria has 75% of children in learning poverty. So will they learn it at the spot? You're in a public school, children have been out of school for a number of years. When they come back, how do we receive them? They get into classroom with 60, 70 people, teachers don't know them, and they fall off again and nobody has the data for it. Do you get my point? I have a system of knowing, if my school was on today, we have a system of knowing the teachers that went to class and how many children understood what they learned. We have teaching supervisors looking at a dashboard to say, oh, for comments, that topic you taught, 5 of your learners did not understand. So let's go back to it. 3 did not understand. I don't know if you understand.
Wow.
There's micro detail to it. But government, our regulators don't demand from us. So I want Ministry of Education to mandate itself to send out education quality assurance officers, Ministry of Education people to go outside this world, go to Singapore and Finland.
Do we even have these quality assurance officers domiciled in the ministry?
We do.
Wow.
They have an entire, and they do their work. They're the ones that accredit us for exams, they come. But even when they come to do their work, what they're looking for may be obsolete and doesn't add to the bottom line. So I can tick all the boxes on what they're looking for, and my children will still struggle. So we need to have another approach that says, all right, what does it actually take children to learn? I just want to share a practical example. My school had the privilege of being selected by the US Embassy to run a program called the Access English Program. It's going to run for 2 years. And so they have us teaching some students in our school and 8 other public schools. So what is it about? Come and learn because of the learning poverty gap. That's how they're contributing to English teaching, speaking, writing, and all of the works. And so in February, I asked for an audit of the program. We've done 12 weeks. I said, audit the program. How do you audit the program? I said, ask the kids to write a simple letter for us. I got an independent staff member. I said, look at these sentences. These kids are in SS1 and 2. And the teacher looked at it and sent me a report. And one of the feedback that struck me was that the kids do not have simple sentence construction skill. Samson, those kids are in SS1 and 2. So I called because the teachers of the program are not my teachers in the school. So I called my English teachers in the school and they said, oh, this is identical experience, even for us, the NOC school. I said, all right, give me some time to think about this. I started doing some research. I said, let me pick a random topic like main idea. I said, how many sub-skills are inside main idea? Samson, there are 8 or so sub-skills inside main idea. Each of them, I think 4 or 5 rather, each of them requires teaching twice. Let me tell you how the Nigerian curriculum teaches it. They teach it, you learn it 1 week or so in just one first term, you go. You do it second term, you do it third term, you do it just 2, you do it just 3. Meanwhile, you're not teaching, they're not even teaching it with the sub-skill in mind. Like when you're teaching main idea, children need to identify what a topic is, what a topic sentence is, be able to create their own, and then there needs to be a connection between what you're teaching in reading, in writing, in speaking, in vocabulary and grammar. There needs to be that chain connection. So our curriculum is blind to sub-skills and intersections. What we have is topical flow. So what that means is that teachers are laboring, but it is not entering. Don't open that door. Hey, my network, oh. Mind, like teaching main idea, children need to identify what a topic is.
So sorry, we lost you a bit there.
Yes,
so
yes.
You need to get back.
Yes, what I was saying is that Nigerian curriculum is blind to soft skills. We have topics, so teachers will see the topic, prepare the notes. We are not stepping back to say, why are we teaching this? What are the skills involved so that we teach to the skill? As I'm talking to you, the coming school year is going to be amazing because we sat down and we redid the access curriculum. Now, let me tell you the shocking part. The British curriculum is designed like that. The American curriculum is designed like that. They're teaching soft skills. So sometimes it looks as if they're teaching fewer things, but those things they teach enter. So tell me why I am finding out that main idea should be taught in 12 lessons. The Nigerian curriculum teaches it once or twice and moves on. Our children are far more intelligent than what we are seeing in their records by the simple reason of how we are teaching them. It's just my own.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I've had previously a lot of conversation. I've been in meetings, conversations around our curriculum and all of that. And it appears to me that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way our curriculum, you may not agree with me, you may agree with me, but the way our curriculum 100%. Is, and all of that. And it appears we are not really concerned. It's either we're doing a copy and paste, or we'll design something that is very unique to us that is not working and we're not checking it. So how do we have conversation around our curriculum in changing it to a help, so that the people who are graduating, the people who are preparing for the next phase of their life, actually the thing enter. I like the way you were saying the thing enters, enters and is with them. They can regurgitate it. It's not that they are cramming. It's not that they are reading to pass exam.
They have the skill.
Beautiful. So how do we do that? Yes.
There's 2 problems. So first and foremost, I mean, kudos to NERDC, right? The NERDC releases the topics that you're supposed to teach. The Education Resource Center schemes it. And then they hand it over to us. And they always tell us that what they give us is the minimum. Especially as private educators, we always go over the top. We do a lot more than the curriculum requires, with all due credits to us. So that's why it hurts me when I see private schools cheat. I'm disappointed because you're already doing all of this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay. So you need to get back to where you talked about ERC.
Okay, so NERDC designs the curriculum and says these are the topics for this class. They don't tell you when and how to teach. But then there's another agency called the Education Resource Center. They take that curriculum and they scheme it. They skim it into what each class, each term, they give you a sense of what the lesson should look like. But when they hand it over to us, let us know that that's the barest minimum. That means you can improve on it. So the first place where I have a problem is that, number one, when Education Resource Center is scheming,
yes,
they are not, I don't think they quite bring in practitioners on the field, learning design experts to sit with them and say, this lesson is not like this, it won't go well. For instance, they'll say, bring in somebody from this office to talk about this. Or they say, use a video to talk about this. I want to see them bring in learning design experts that sit with them. I'm a learning design expert. I'll be able to tell you that this thing is going to be problematic to teach it here. Number two, each time I hear the conversation of curriculum reform, it sounds like it's some connected people in high-profile places that sit down and brainstorm on it. Because we, the educators, we don't get to know. And then any of these will say, oh, we consulted widely. We even consulted market women and this and that and that and that. So you get private sector people that may not necessarily be core education practitioners. They are passionate about reform. Let me put it this way. Let's say maybe one of the most forward-thinking CEOs in the world, in Nigeria right now, is the CEO of Sterling Bank, right? Suleiman. So Suleiman is passionate about education redesign. And Suleiman says something should change. So Suleiman comes into a meeting. I'm not saying he did that. I'm using him as an example. Suleiman comes into a meeting and says, oh, we need to reform. We want to see this. We want to see that. As banks, we want to see better quality math, For example, when I went to Singapore, when I went here, the math was like this. Suleiman says all of that. He's great. But Suleiman is not a curriculum expert.
That's right.
Suleiman is not working in the classroom. So we need to meet at a point. Let the corporates tell us what they want to see. With the education practitioners, especially field workers. And right now, I'm talking about consultants that have run schools. So consultants that are in the nitty-gritty, looking at lesson plans, looking at results. Let them sit down and say, this thing Suleiman wants to see. How do you build it into what you can learn for what age? Because I sit down and I hear that the Ministry of Education said, oh, they're changing this. Oh, and I'm asking, so maybe they consulted widely, but we don't know. I hear there's a new curriculum coming out that is going to phase out all of this. I look forward to seeing it. But private school educators, we didn't see it. And we are the people that build on the barest minimum the government gives.
And the implementers, or you're the one implementing.
And also the people implementing. If the public schools are implementing as well. So what you have is an opportunity where everyone can sit on the table. We don't need to be, I don't need to be invited into a conference room to talk. Tell us that we are doing education reform. Give us surveys, 100 question surveys. I will dedicate 3 hours to it. We'll fill the surveys, you analyze it. Then you tell us to choose subjects that we want to contribute to, and we will contribute. And you post like a collaborative document. Post what you want to do. Give us 1 year. Tell us, oh, come and do this. Look at this. Let us be contributing. Let us be so many that whether I don't show up for some days or not, the progress is still going on. Ask us to give you a checklist of what makes a great lesson. And we will give you and work with that. So every time you sit down with a group of people with limited insight, limited expertise, sometimes I feel like Ministry of Education is a regulator. Regulate it and run an agency of experts that design the content in our learning. Regulate. Don't tell us what to teach. Regulate. Tell us, bring a team and say, what are we going to teach? Let us have a vision. What do you want out of Nigeria? So for me, the vision driving me is I want my learners to have enough knowledge to get admission in any part of the world and thrive. I want them to see business opportunities in what I'm teaching them because they're pockets and they need to make. I want to teach chemistry so much that I can say, I can start doing this soap and it will be healthy, it will be safe, and I'll sell it and make money. I want children to see opportunity in everything. I want children learning English to be able to be social media managers. I'm trying to look at the curriculum and see how it does more than give them a certificate, but give them monetizable skills. So I want Ministry of Education to regulate. Don't tell us what to teach. Create an entire new process for how we build into the curriculum, how often we will change it, and for people to give us data. Then when we are done with all of this, we need to know that the most destructive thing we've done to the next generation is examination malpractice.
Beautiful.
Because exam stops you from getting education data. When children cheat, the data is bad. You can't see who is learning, who is not learning what is working, what is not working. Examination malpractice has destroyed the fiber of Nigerian education. All this English I'm speaking with 14 children is because their data is uninterfered with. I can see when they failed, what they didn't do well, and interventions can come speedily. So this is a topic I'm very passionate about. And like I always say, I challenge any state governor in Nigeria to hold me to my words. That if they want to transform the education in their state, 24 months is the timeline, and the greater work will be done on teachers, not the children. 24 months. So I dare anyone that says, come and show me how we can do this without examination malpractice. Just so you know, public schools are cheating as well. Oh. Children are bringing money every day to gather and pay supervisors. And the thing is everywhere. So me, I'm calling, if Plateau State governor says, I want to reform Nigerian plateau education, I say, sir, give me 24 months. You will not recognize the children of Plateau. All those spoken English, where they speak, where they tire you will align.
Yes. Correct. I mean, I'm getting excited and I love this. I mean, and I'm sure that we can partner together. And I mean, when I mean partnership, I hope that the state government will want to partner. I hope parents will want to also partner, because if we have also parents who have assumed to, or who have taken a position to be a clog in the process, we can achieve anything. And of course, teachers also must be willing. The recruitment process, I'm also thinking of our teachers, is also faulty in this country. I mean, maybe you want to speak to that. The lines are buzzing. Seriously, people want to call.
140 marks as JAMB score for education faculty is wild. The people that are going to educate your next generation have the lowest cutoff point. But here's the thing, Samson, I'm going to challenge you. How many high flyers in your class when you were graduating are teaching?
Very few.
So if we want the best hands to come into education, we need to revolutionize it. From the pay packages to even private sector regulation, that if this is your school fees, this is your minimum salary. So that teachers feel fought for.
That's right.
We have to incentivize teaching so that, number one, we attract the best mind, and the people there are conditioned to give their best. Do you get where I'm coming from? So that's it in a nutshell.
All right, now we've spoken along different lines now, levels this morning. I want to ask you a straight question. What are your major concerns when you sit back after the day's work, when you want to now prepare to go to school the next month? What are your major concerns for the education system in Nigeria?
My biggest concern is our future. No quality workforce, failing businesses because no one to support you. And then the deprivation of, the illusion that if I don't work for someone, I can work for myself. And people don't know the sheer level of personal leadership and education that it takes to work for yourself. So my biggest fear is that we're going to wake up one day and there is no sector in Nigeria that you can find someone that is knowledgeable enough to do the work that they do because of the quality of education we have. And a situation where the high flyers have been handpicked by other countries. The UK calls it global talent visa. The America calls it whatever it is. And we are left with a bunch of people who don't know jack. So for me, I want to institutionalize excellence. That no matter where a person is, if you're a Nigerian getting a Nigerian education, I want the education to produce a quality human being out of you. So that's my biggest fear. And it's already happening. We're interviewing people to teach and they can't speak well. I can't forget this experience. I took my daughter to a particular school I will not name. And we were moving from one school to the other. At that school, they were doing year ahead textbooks. So I show up and my daughter is supposed to be in primary 2 and I'm seeing primary 3 textbooks. And so you see, she had just finished nursery 3. So she was supposed to come into book 1. Now she's into, she was supposed to go into book 2. She's not into book 3. That means a whole layer of learning is missing. And so I come into class that day and I saw her classmates teaching her. I said, I didn't pay school fees for your classmates to be teaching you. You're in the wrong class.
Yes, that's right.
So I walked up to the teacher. I said, what's going on? She said, Madam, she did not agree to write. Oh.
Really?
I passed out. I said, what did you say? She said, I tell you, she did not agree to write. I moved my child from that room. I went to the front desk of the school. I said, my daughter is in the wrong class. Which class uses book 2? She said primary 1. I said, take her back to primary 1. Any class that uses the next successive textbook, she was to do. Do you know, by the time she finished that class, she was coming first. She was having, and that's good. They were offering 21 subjects. I keep my opinions to myself. She will have parallel A's in all because she was in the right class. Samson, what I'm telling you, you're already experiencing it. Have you met doctors of recent? How confident are you?
Very well.
Doctors that you're missing?
I'm not.
Especially the new guy coming.
I don't have any issue or any reason to get into the hospital. Really,
that is my biggest fear. That one day we wake up and so let's make quality education the barest minimum available to all children, regardless of their creed, race, whatever it is. That at the most basic level, we have quality education, because education shapes the mind, shapes values, shapes character, shapes self-perception when done right. So if we have that kind of vision, that if a child showed up in school, you can say that the child is in school, therefore, right now we're not talking about the number of human beings that are not in school. We are not touching that one so that we don't explode the radio today. We're just saying that the ones that even came to school, let's make it meaningful for them. Somebody on here is saying that even the children are distracted. That's a part of the problem. But when it is engaging, when they are following the flow, when they are seeing how their own skills are improving, the lesser the distraction. If I sit down where somebody is speaking Spanish from morning till night, I get some part, I lose some part, I must be distracted. So we need to re-engineer the process and then re-engineer classroom management so that we can manage student distraction as well as keeping learning processes engaging for them.
All right, if you're just tuning in, you've missed almost an hour of the show. I don't know what to do, but again, we're streaming this live. You can go to Irene Bangwell's Facebook page. She's live there. You can leave your comments there. We're also live on most of our social media platforms or new media platforms if you like. We're also streaming live on our apps, and of course we're live terrestrially. You can get us 93.7 wherever you are. Send me a message now, because we'll be taking the messages. You have any questions and you have contributions, or you want to call into the show, I'll be giving you the number very shortly. But before we get to take calls, ma'am, I like you to assume that you are in the room and you have a state governor there, you have a commissioner of education. Now, what specific things will you?
Hello, Samson, can you hear me? Hey, my network today.
Madam Bank, we're back on the show. So
yes,
did you hear what I said?
Yes, said I have a governor in the room. What specific things I'm going to tell them?
Governor, you have parents also in the room. What specific things will you tell, and then the students themselves?
So I have a notepad here. The first thing I'm going to ask the state governor is his vision for the children of the state and what he wants them to build the state into. I want the governor to see the children as the people that will build the state. Not hypothetically. In 10 years, they're going to set up businesses working. What do you want to see? From values to skills. So let me use Plateau for an example. If the governor says, I want to advance geological development in Plateau, that's what I want to see. Plateau becoming the hub of geological inventions, innovations. I'll store it up. The next thing I'm going to ask him is, make your curriculum reflect that. Let them learn geology in math, in English, in basic science, in basic tech, in agri, cross-cutting. The third thing I'm going to say is change the textbooks that children are using in the school. Samson, I don't use regular textbooks in my school anymore. I can't afford international. So we are building textbooks by ourselves every term. It's the hardest work we do. And so what does it mean? I don't call it textbooks, so I call it, we take the lessons we want to teach the children and we break it down to where they are to reflect those soft skills I told you. And so in my school, we don't do that principle of you should have already been taught. We assume you have never been taught. So we teach what you should have been taught. Then we teach you what you're supposed to be taught. So I'll tell them to change the textbooks. Number 4, I'll tell them to change how teachers are hired and how teachers are remunerated. One time I had this fancy idea, and I don't mind anybody running with it, that teachers should never pay the same cost of anything in any state. Plateau, for instance, has a transportation thing. Let teachers have a discounted card that whether it's ShopRite they're going into, whether it's public transportation, they have a card that gives them 30% off what every other person spends. That means government must subsidize life for teachers. Do you understand? So those are the 4 things for me. What is your vision? How do we see it in the curriculum? How do we change the material students are learning with? And how can we incentivize the people responsible for driving that education? When I look at parents, I want to tell them something. Number 1, your child is an inherent map. Let me explain what I mean. Samson, I knew you many years ago. Your voice, you didn't make up. You didn't make up your voice. You did nothing to contribute to it. Your level of articulation is inbred. But here's the thing. There are people that sound just as good as you are, but they're not articulate. So they can't do the job that you do. So I want parents to get to a point where they bestow trust on the education system to bring out what is in their child, to maximize their child's existence. What parents are trying to do is an expression of distrust in the system, an interpretation of what they think the child needs. All of those things are conniving and actually breaking children apart. So I want them to show some trust in the system, that we educators, we will find out their children's strengths and we will nurture it. And we need them to stay clear outside of holding us accountable and paying school fees. Hold us accountable, pay school fees. In the real sense of it, when the governor has a vision of what he wants his children to become, they will not only provide education regulation, they will provide parenting guidance. For example, one of my friends on the line is talking about children having tablets and is distorting how learning is happening. Children are overstimulated before they come into school. Why are parents doing this? Parents want their children to speak well. They want their children to be informed. So government can regulate and say, all right, on Plateau State, this is how we are going to use tablets for our children. Tablets happen on the weekends. Because of that, we are partnering with Rhythm and Peace to provide this kind of content, PRTV to produce this kind of content for children. We are going to put in contents that are pro-science experiment, pro this, pro that. You cannot educate the next generation in isolation. There's a connection. Then we are going to integrate healthcare. When our children fall sick, do we take them to pharmacy? The children need to know that the state sees them as important. So then it brings the fact that should they be hawking during school hours? The state needs to say we are filling up the library with books. This holiday, Plateau children in batches are going to the library to access material. It's such a holistic picture to take. But as long as government treats education as one ministry, not the engine of the future, they will mismanage it. Then I'll come to the children. Your competition is not the child in class. Your competition is in Japan learning 12, 13 hours. Your competition is preventing. I mean, my school was invited to explore an AI writing mastery tool. We went through it. It was looking so good. Then we met the CEO. It's an SS2 students project.
Wow. Talk to
Samson,
me.
It's an SS2 students project. Do you know that in my school, from when we started, we have something called hackathon. Every term, we put children in teams, we give them a problem in society, we tell them troubleshoot and build prototypes. We've done it every term since we started. And some people say, why are you doing that? Why are you doing it? I say, I don't do end of year. We do hackathon. We reward. The one thing that happens every time is hackathons. Why? Their competition is out there. And I believe that those children will build. Somebody visited the school recently, and one of our students was talking about a solar thing he did some class back where he used blades as panels, razor blades as solar panels. And the woman said, keep thinking about it so that you can do this. That's what I want. So when the government looks at it expansively, it will work. So I'll tell the children, trust the school process. Anything that introduces a shortcut is aborting your development. I like to think about it as the butterfly goes from the egg to larva, and then, if we help the butterfly come out of the pupa, it will die. If we help you in exam, we kill your potential. We kill everything you have the power to become. So allow the experience go through you. Then finally, what I have taught my children is that it is okay to fail. And we, the adults, are in school to handhold you when you fail. My children don't bother to cheat anymore in school because they know that when they fail, it's not shaming. I always tell them that when you fail, you give us data to work with, and we are going to support you. Before this last school year, we had a policy that when children are to repeat, we'll bring them in, we'll say, we're going to do this again. We're going to do this again. But right now, my policy has changed a bit. Even for children to repeat now in the North school, I have to see demonstrated learning. If I put your child in school and you insist that even though they're struggling, they need to be in the market with you till 8 or 9 p.m., I will not partner with you. I will give that child back to you, because I'm telling you to trust me. When I tell you, give me this time with the child, give me that time. So when my children experience failure, I tell them, I'm standing right on the same side as you, and I'm going to fight for you. And how do I fight for you? I'm going to make sure you are taught, well taught, so that you do well. I was looking at the English script of a child that repeated JSS1 some years back, SS2 now. And I saw her OBJ in oral English and the other thing. It was so good. I had to call the teacher. I said, that's Hope Dauda's script. She said, yes, ma, that's Hope Dauda. So when you tell her to, and you don't change anything in the education, it's not fair. If you ask a child to repeat, what are you doing to make sure they learn this time around? They didn't learn the first time. What are you going to do to ensure that? So I'll tell the children to embrace failure, because I don't shame them. I use it as data to know how best to support them. And at the end of the day, do you know the child that had the highest in our JAMB was struggling in JSS1? So I'm not talking about theoretical. I'm not talking about, I didn't read a book to tell you this. I'm talking about 18 terms of madness. And that's what I'm saying. That this thing works, do it right. If you convince children that if I pull you out, if I pull out a butterfly at the pupa stage, I will kill it. If I give you, allow you cheat in exam malpractice, I will kill you. So allow the process to go. And I have this amazing culture that we have a policy, we have a policy that requires children to ask questions. They have to ask questions in class. And they rate their lessons when they are done. The way we design their learning material, they have a place where they tick. I had some difficulty with this lesson. I had a lot of difficulty with this lesson. This lesson was easy to understand. On a daily basis, government does not require it from us, but that's what it takes to ensure that we are providing education.
I mean, this is one of the most exciting shows I've heard in recent times, because I'm very passionate. I have children who are in school, and all of that. And I know the extras that we do, and thankfully, thank God for the school they attend. They do similar thing with what you're doing. So I'm really very excited, because again, there are very few of your people around who are also educators, who understand and are passionate about transferring and molding and making the next generation of our leaders. A lot of those who own schools and run schools in our states, in our country, have they're learning as a commercial venture, purely commercial, not wanting to add value, that will make that, because tomorrow, in the next 15, 20 years, when one of your student mom becomes a president or
definitely
becomes
now, definitely.
This is this didn't go down the drain, and that excitement is there. So thank you very much. And I'd like to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. And we hope that what we want to do with today's show, really, Madam Bangwell, is that we want to get as many people who are listening to us to be provoked. Yes. That's the intention for today's show. Be provoked enough that you want to change. If you're a proprietor listening to us today, if you are a principal of a public school and all that, what are you going to do to change? You don't have to just sit back and say, oh, well, I need a school fees and all that at the end of the day. And of course, we'll go through the normal thing. Our education system is going down the drain, but there's hope. Listening to Irene Bangwell this morning, there's a lot of hope that we can change, we can attain, and we can still, bring back that very foolproof education system that our parents came through with. If you're just tuning in, it's Viewpoint on Silververse Rhythm 93.7. Just I see before I give the phone numbers out. I mean, you guys are buzzing the line, but let's see what you want to tell us on 080-6464-1536. I know you have a lot to say, but keep it really very short. I beg you, keep it really, really very short. Your name, where you're calling us from, straight to your contribution. If you have a personal story you want to tell us, if you are not confident, please, let's hear your story. About what's going on with your children, and if you're in a school where they are cheating and all, how does that, or you are part of those, let's have your thoughts. We wouldn't mind to hear you. 08064641536. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Very well, just like our radio caller, Madam Ada.
Yeah.
So she has done well.
Thank you very much. She's done well. Thank you very much, sir, for your thought. We need to keep it really very short. 08064641536. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hello, good morning. Okay. Keep trying. Let's see if we can pick this call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. You need to speak up, please. Okay.
Yes, I want to commend the madam. Very wonderful analysis. I'm calling on professors, professors to listen to what they are saying this morning. As I'm saying, let them have meetings, have seminars of those who are to professor themselves, so that the practices should stop and our children should move forward.
Okay.
Especially, I pray it shall be well. After that, there are no great people.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. 08064641536. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show. Okay, we lost that. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Oga.
Morning, sir. What's your name?
I'm Musa Ike Kalu, calling you from Angwarugo.
From Angwarugo. Musa Ike Kalu. Go ahead, please.
All right.
Okay. Go to the educator. You see, when you allow illegality to become money vector, what do you expect? You see somebody going out as a mechanical engineer. You cannot even fix the plug of your vehicle.
That's right.
And you go and call somebody who you are calling a mechanic to come and fix it. When you do this, where are the practicals? You are teaching them, bring this thing, let them be used to it. So that when it comes in terms of music, they can be able to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Musa Ike Kalu, for your thoughts. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Samson and your guest. It's Radio Mama. I do not calling from Blanket.
Okay.
Samson, where did you get this wonderful woman? Your teacher, you'll never tired, you know.
That's right.
She has got it. That is what she has said is what it should be. You know. So I don't know. I thank kudos to you, madam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I wonder how you are able to survive in this country. There's problem with corruption. Then look at the JAMB score. The other time when I was contributing in one platform, I said, let JAMB look at this thing again. Let them reduce the questions they to give in the exam, and then mark out of 200, and then make the cutoff mark 100 across board. So they won't be a kind of inferiority complex.
Okay, ma'am.
The idea of discriminating cutoff mark. It brings about that is the inferiority complex already for those who want to teach. You know. So
God forbid, oh mama, God forbid.
Because they have no other course.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I mean, you're taking so much time, ma'am. We have you wanted to respond to that very quickly.
I need to respond to that. We don't lower the bar.
Okay.
We build the child to meet the expectation. We don't lower the bar. Every time we keep bringing when they get into university expects that they've learned certain things already and builds up on it. So they show up in university, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skill, so they struggle and graduate with poor grades that they can't get a decent job with. So we don't lower the bar to meet children. We build the child to meet the standard. We don't lower the bar. That's us trying to avoid the work of building the child. We're trying to avoid the hard work of teaching and learning, and we keep lowering the bar. Very soon, you will just need to finish SS3 and write a CA in your school and then move to university. No, we don't lower the bar. We raise the child to get there. And when it comes to children's self-esteem, we have to earn the trust of a child that even when they fail, they trust that we are still holding them. All right? We trust that we are still supporting them. Yeah.
All right. Before I get back to the phone, earlier in your discussion, you talked about a textbook that you designed, and I'm quite interested in that. Can you give us? Can you speak and give us an insight into how you think about that, and what is done for you, what you've seen, the results that's come out of it?
So first and foremost, I want you to have this statement I made in mind from the beginning. I said we need to make excellence a barest minimum. That means institutionalize it. So let me tell you, by the time I was starting my school, I had been doing teacher training for at least 6-7 years. So I was frustrated with the fact that you can train a teacher today and evaluate them in 3 months' time, and you can't see the things you thought about because the human mind is monotonous. So I wanted to institutionalize it. Right. But the first opportunity came during COVID. During COVID, children were not in school. They couldn't learn online. I was taking care of poor kids. We didn't even have a WhatsApp group. So there was no way we could do learning online. So I had to design learning for them to go home with. So we had to teach math from a textbook without the aid of a teacher. What's the best way to do that? It's storytelling. So we want to teach about mensuration and length and breadth and measurement. And we say, today your father wants to buy a carpet for the parlor. He goes this way, he goes that way. That in math, they call it mensuration, but it just means how you measure. Then there's area, then there's perimeter. Then when it was science, we teach them how to. We started writing lessons as stories, imagining that where there is no teacher, you can read this and you can understand. So the first thing is that all lessons are storified. We call it the storified textbooks. All lessons are storified, and those textbooks, first and foremost, they're storified, but then they recognize prerequisite skills. So the lesson will start with a story that tells you what it is about. Then it will navigate to things you were supposed to already know. If you didn't know it, it will teach it to you. Then the textbook comes back to the lesson for the day. We break lesson into what we call layers. We take one layer, we storify, we give you the notes, we give you the skills, then we give you an exercise. So at the end of every layer, we have a way of recalling feedback, whether children understood or not. Now, it is the feedback from those lessons that is put on our learner assessment dashboard. All teachers, no matter when you were going to school, and I'm sure classwork was only in math and English. At the North School, classwork is in all subjects. It's how we know whether the content was understood. So you give 3 questions, the children answer them, and the teacher reports back the feedback from those 3 questions. If a child answers all 3, they met the learning goal. If they answer 2, they had a difficulty with the lesson. If they answer only 1 correctly or none at all, it means they were lost. And that particular layer has to be retaught. You know how we only know when children fail at the end of the term? It's not useful. Meet them where they fail, correct it there, build from there. So the storified textbook takes lessons that are difficult to understand in regular textbook. What really led us to think about that was that if Nigeria has learning poverty, who are you writing this textbook for? Learning poverty means that children at the age of 10 cannot read certain materials, cannot do certain math. But your new general mathematics is already sounding like the teacher using it. Can we break down the concept? When you say cross multiply, what does it mean to a child? We put an X, we move things from here to here. There are rules in math. If you go through an equal sign, plus becomes minus, minus becomes plus. Multiplication becomes division, division becomes multiplication. It has to be explained though, in notes. So what it has done is, even when we have a new teacher who is not a strong hand, the workbook has the lesson. Do you understand? So the children can follow the flow of the lesson. Number 2, because of that storified textbook, they are not writing notes on the board. Some teachers come into class for 40 minutes lesson or 35, and they talk for 10, copy notes for 25. Is that how you learn, Samson? We learn conversation. I talk, you talk. Yes. So let us use the learning time for actual learning, because note taking is not learning time. A child can copy a note for a lesson that they will not understand when they read. Good handwriting, they don't understand. So the storified textbook has such distinct features that ensures that first, the language is tailored to the level of the learner. Number 2, there are stories that explain the concept, whether it's physics or chemistry or biology, whatever, there's a story that can be used. And then number 3, it comes to it, we use context. So for example, if I was in Jos, so you hear something like, The women come for this, that. So it takes education from something abstract to something the child can relate to. I pass in Zaramaganda. Oh, yes, they sell this one there. Oh, they sell our Feringada, they sell food. So if you're teaching commerce, you talk about how the guys come to Feringada with trucks or basket on this. So let's measure. So this is a math class. So because of that, it makes learning so close to home. You need to see my children discuss concept they're taught. And I have a principle. If the child can teach it to their peer, they know it. So we hear what we are teaching in the conversations because of that awesome material. Oh, I didn't even add this. In February and in March and April, we got a funding from Ford Foundation to test the Storyfied textbook in 4 states: the FCT, Kano, Enugu State, and Cross River. We tested it with children in JSS 1 to 3, SS 1 to 3 Arts, SS 1 to 3 Science. They rated it way higher than their textbooks, especially children in JS 1 to 3. The others rated it high as well, but they were like, this is easy to understand. I enjoyed this because, again, we are not pro-children. That's why our textbooks are written in expert language.
All right, thank you very much. We'll talk about this some other time. We have less than 7 minutes left on the show, and a lot of people are trying to get on the show. Yes. I have Extravagant Malubi on the line. That's right. Hello, good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Good morning, mother.
Good morning, sir.
Let me just few issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it short, sir. Just keep it very short, sir.
Very short.
Yes.
I was talking with someone who sells scientific equipment, and he told me what happens when supervisors go to school to see their lab. Most of these schools go to hire science equipment to give up their lab, pay for it. Once the supervisors are gone, they return them. Let me also let you know, Samson, until we have leaders who are passionate about education, nothing will change.
That's right.
When you have presidents whose credentials are under question, and Nigerians doesn't find anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
With Muhammadu Buhari, the same thing, Tinubu, the same thing. The man who graduated from the school, even before the school was started. So what do you think? Where do you go from here? Lastly, madam, let me ask you, what is the challenge you are seeing around the students using AI to pass exams, but to get certificates they cannot even defend in the end?
Thank you very much. We have less than 3 minutes left on the show. Let me just be fair to give people. I'll have to bring Irene back on the show one of these days again, because we can't exhaust everything around our education system. But let me just give you a fair right of reply in terms of being a contributor to the show. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Mr. Fancy.
Yes, good morning.
I'm calling from Shaka.
Israel, you have just about 25 seconds.
Yes, the truth is, Mr. Fancy, WAEC is the man that's in charge of WAEC should resign. Because I can't see the reason why you have an exam, you have the result, and you can compare it to the past result. The decline was massive. Even if it's a poetry you have and your head decline, you want to know why it's like that. Release the result, waited for students to complete before accepting that there is problem. He said it's culpable and the reform should start from WAEC itself.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Thank you very much, Israel. Let me see if I can squeeze in 2 more calls, and then it'll be Dada on the show today. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Samson. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What's the name? Where are you calling from, sir?
Senior comrade this morning.
Senior comrade Bernard. How are you, sir?
Samson, we have everything. We have a lot of resources. Look at the beautiful presentation making by. Is she from public or private sector? Is she a professor on the school?
Yeah, she is. It's a school in Abuja called the North
100 Naira a day school. Oh, please call the name of the school. North 100 Naira a day school. That's the name of my school.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Samson, there are no time, but I want to ask a question. This randomization,
yes,
random policy that you do for this WAEC.
Yes.
Is it pass through hypothesis? Because before a policy comes into theory, you must try to take it later. Right? If what's the policy that have bent the neck of some students and the parents?
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Bernard. I'll just take the last call because we have less than 2 minutes left on the show. We need to take some adverts. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Morning. You need to speak up. What's the name? Where are you calling from? Who? Ima, you need to speak up and be swift. You have 20 seconds.
Yeah, she has spoken well. But the issue is that we are having issues with the academic section because the children are not giving the focus exam is to test the ability of what I'm learning in the classroom. So you can see today that you take your job before you take the person that is consulting on AI. And I want to agree with her is what you have in your brain that you can give out.
All right, thank you very much, Emma. We appreciate your thoughts on the show. So many of you want to get on the show. I can see a lot of comments on Facebook, even on Irene Bangwell's wall. There are a lot of you are making a lot of comments there. Maybe she will take some time to respond to you, or we'll find a way of getting some this thing out. But what a show we had today. I mean, we've spoken for the last 1 hour, 20 minutes, they're about 15 minutes, and it's been exciting all the way. We hope that we can continue to have this conversation to make our education process and system and institution better. And of course, I'm hoping the Plateau State government will also take interest in what you've said. Maybe I will try and also make some bit of contact with the Commissioner for Education. She's a wonderful lady, Kachalom Gang. Maybe find a way where we can have some interface with you and see what they can buy into and all of that, and see how we can make education here better. Your last comments before we leave on the show?
I'm just going to run through this because we have to run. First and foremost, I understand the perspective that sometimes schools don't have all the lab equipment. I stand here to speak for private school educators. Lab equipment are very expensive. So expensive that you can't put the burden on parents. I know how long it took me to raise 3 million naira to buy some part of the lab equipment. I don't even think we eventually met that goal. So what do I recommend? Government, you know what I said, if the governor has a big picture, create a fund to lab schools, including private schools, but give them a criteria, a checklist they must meet, and then they can earn that grant. And you can decide not to give the grant as cash, but as supply of equipment. So government needs to see private educators as co-partners in providing education, because sometimes public schools are fairly lab studded already with equipment. So it's private schools that struggle the most with lab equipment, and we need government support. The North School needs government support. Number two, I want to talk about AI. I teach my students how to use AI. You think first and you tell it to troubleshoot and run it through with you. So I've already told my student that one of the dumbest things out there is AI, because if you don't train it, it can't give you quality output. So I'm trying to raise children who are not waiting for everything AI says, and they teach the AI what they want to do. So AI is a support tool. It should not be you shouldn't start work with AI. You should finish work with AI. You finish developing what you want to do. But having said that, I want this country to know that Nigeria has the youngest youth population in Africa. And a youth population is an energetic population that if you give them quality education, you have a quality future to retire to. So I'm challenging everyone, school owners, parents, government regulators, government executive arms at the state, local government, and federal government. See children as the vehicle to the ideal future we want, and then do everything you can to give them the skills, the knowledge, and the conviction that they need to deliver that future. Thank you, Samson, for having me. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to Madam Irene Bangwell. Thank you so much for your time. Regards to your wonderful husband. I mean, for those of you who have been in Jos, you remember Youngsters Foundation, right?
Yes.
He was pioneering, and of course, back in the days here in Jos, but you're doing great in Abuja now. We love you, and we hope that we'll have some more conversation around this. Thank you for using your time. Have a great day. And our listeners, that's the most on Viewpoint this morning.